Are you thinking about the back to school transition? I know I am. I also know as a parent that we're not just thinking about the schedule for the back to school transition, but we're thinking about our work schedule, possible additional childcare schedule, if you have a partner, a significant other, their schedule, when are you going to get your exercise, when are you going to, all of those things are going through our minds right now. So I wanted to share a few tips of what I'm thinking of using some of the principles of Mad to Glad so that things can be less stressful and you can have a more smooth back to school transition. Sometimes it's nice to just focus on one part of the day that's making you the most nervous. So if the after school time of the day is really stressful for you and you need to make sure you have some hired help or something like that to help with the transition, definitely do that. But I'm going to focus on the morning routine. So in the morning routine, it can be really helpful to map out your 5 to 8 steps together. So there's going to be the natural steps of waking up, getting dressed, brushing teeth, eating food, and those are really helpful to map out with like a poster or like a whiteboard. If your kids are little, it's nice to have pictures next to each of these things. We are personally laminating a weekly chart in my family, the Monday through Friday. Actually, we'll do through the weekend as well. And then we'll put a little Velcro dot on each day of the week with pictures of myself, my husband, the nanny, and the school, whoever the teacher will be, so that my 3-year-old will know, like, oh, today is a mommy day, today is a school and daddy day, today's a nanny day and half a school day. So mapping out the routines together can be really helpful because predictability helps kids feel at ease. They're feeling the change of season as well. So think about those 5 to 8 steps and be sure to include steps that aren't just the tasky things, like packing the lunch bag and whatnot, but things like, when do they get connection time in the morning? For some kids, that's right when they wake up. If you're already naturally doing that, it makes it really simple to put something on the poster that's cuddle time or snuggle time or play time. Sometimes I'll call it slow to warm up time or warm up time, just to get the gears rolling, or it could even be special playtime. Something like 5 or 10 minutes of that can do wonders before hitting the ground running and make it feel like there's connection, not just rushing to get tasks done, which is more appropriate for a child's world. That's more of their agenda anyways. The next thing that you may want to be considering is practicing. So kids who are young, kids who have a tendency towards controlling behavior or nervousness or anxiety, it can be really helpful to rehearse the routine with kids. Including those fun steps I was just saying. So you can pretend to lay next to them in their bed, talk about how it's morning time. Yes, this works for an 11-year-old. Yes, this works for a 14-year-old if, just making sure the steps really apply to your relationship with them. And then walking through each of the rooms so that everybody's body gets a feeling for how things are going to go. You might notice during this practice part of the new routine that things will pop into your mind like, oh, if I'm going to make sure my child eats breakfast before they get on the bus or before they get in the car, that means I am going to need to sit with them. I know that's true in my house. Sitting at the table alone is not a recipe for my child eating his breakfast. So that for me personally means like, okay, so when I get home from my morning exercise, that means I need to shower right away. I can't sit down and play and take my leisurely time and pack my own stuff. I need to get my shower out of the way and get dressed and put my mascara on. This is real. And then when you're thinking through the rest of your day, there absolutely are some tips for after school and prepping your kids' brains and their bodies for homework. Oftentimes this can be things like let them unwind, let them go wild, let them make sure that they have a high protein snack, not just a sugary snack that will cause them to crash later and be in tears when it's time to do some homework potentially, and hopefully not, or in those early school days, kids not getting too much homework anyway, but just starting to keep that in mind as you're planning things out. So that might be one hot tip for afternoon schedule. And then for nighttime, did you know that the rule of thumb for screens is to limit them within 2 hours of sleep? So 2 hours, that's first thing in the morning, as well as 2 hours before bedtime. So if there are screens, a lot of families are successful having their kids use screens before dinner time when it's that witching hour and kids are not feeling that great anyways, rather than after dinner time, which is a better time to do free play and connection time again, so that there's been quality family bonding and not just focused on the tasks in the school and the routine and getting out the door. Like we're actually living into the relationship part of what kids are wanting and needing from us. And then when you're thinking about sleep, think through what would be a peaceful sleep environment. So moving beyond screens, can we have relaxing things in the room? So can there be quiet activities? Maybe these are art activities. If you have the ability to do a very simple space, we just have sleep haven sorts of things in our child's room. So there's a sheepskin rug on the floor, there's some stuffed animals, there's some books, but we keep all of the active construction and building toys because that's relevant for us right now. We keep those out of the room so that when we do cleanup in other areas of our small condo, the room is the place that we go and we all settle in, and my child's sleep and wake cycle is really well attuned to, like, oh, and in this room we start winding down, we start slowing down, we start doing things that are at a slower pace, which helps the mind and body begin to ready to drift off for sleep and that slower pace again. So I hope some of those tips are helpful. Focusing on the morning routine right now, especially like teaming up with your kid to map out those 5 to 8 steps together, role playing them and making something visual so that they can follow along would be a great thing to do at this time of the month of August. All right, stay tuned. I'll send some more back to school tips, and make sure you leave a comment and like this so that I know if you would like some more tips, if we're on the right track.